bit of poetry for you, and I'm a particular fan of Yeats. And he said, "An aged man is but a paltry thing, a tattered coat upon a stick, unless soul clap, soul sing, and louder sing for every tatter in his mortal dress." That's from the Savings Byzantium. Though I see no tatters in any apparent dress, we shall, I urge you nonetheless, to let soul sing and louder sing, should the topic master you address. Because you should, I urge you, as the poet has said to, think where man's glory most begins and ends, and say, my glory was, I had such friends. For what you say, make no amends, because today you are indeed, as you think and talk and take a lead, towards that grail of wondrous speech we seek, and stretch each other to better reach. So for each of us and each today, we motivate, we grow, we teach, that mastery we each may reach. Let's get on with the meeting.
Thank you, Pat Caslin. Thank you very much for stepping in for for Tamara. And welcome everyone to our meeting today. We're very excited to have you all here. And we have a guest. Is it Teresa or Treka?
Thank you very much. It's Teresa. Lovely to see you again.
Hello, Teresa. We've had you here before.
Yes, ma'am, I have. Yeah. Hello, everyone.
And hello. Where are you calling in from?
I live in northern Baja, Mexico, just over the border from San Diego.
Oh, how is that?
It's about 65 degrees, and the houses here aren't built with heat.
Ooh.
So I'm like,
well, that would explain your jacket.
Yes.
Well, welcome back. We always love seeing you, and I'm very excited about our meeting today. We talk about speaking to inspire, which is our theme. And I love to be inspiring, but I love more to be transformational. How do we make our speeches not just inspire others, but transform them into what is possible? Today, we have a wonderful meeting scheduled. We have 3 speakers, 3 evaluators. We are missing a grammarian. You know what, Sandra? What would you say if we just nixed the grammarian role today?
I think that's a great choice, but I do have a word that I'd like to encourage people.
Well, if we use the word, then we have to track the word, and somebody has to track it. So,
with it,
gotcha. With great audacity, I say I think we can skip the word of the day today in the grammarian. This is a great club. We don't do a lot of ums and ahs and verbal clutches, but we often have great expressions. And so maybe if you hear a great expression from a speaker, make sure you put that in your evaluation online on the chat when we get to them. So now it is my great pleasure to introduce Trudy, who will serve as our Toastmaster of the day. Miss Trudy, you are up.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests. We only have 1 guest, right? So far, more may be coming in. I don't know. I'm the first-time Toastmaster at MoE, and I hope to do my best and serve you well. Our theme today is Speak to Inspire. This means, for me, or what you have written there, great leaders don't just speak, they spark movements. The innovative voices to spark movements. As we are going to be listening to a number of speeches, each one in general will have a call of action for us and for themselves too once they evaluate it. We as Toastmasters learn from each other how to be leaders and better advocates using our voice. And that's what we like to do. You don't have to be loud, but what you say and how you say it would help us make movements move. A true leader understands that a voice is a catalyst. It's not about being the loudest. It's about being the clearest. It's about igniting a shared vision that transforms an audience into a community and a community into a movement. So by listening to the speeches today and the evaluation, we have a chance to practice what we learn and take back what we learn. It's a chance to move past just conveying information and start connecting with and inspiring one another. As Toastmaster, I manage the flow of the meeting, the entire flow of the meeting. There are prepared speeches, there are topic masters, and there's evaluations. The evaluations would be evaluating the speakers, and the topic masters would allow you to speak spontaneously without having to prepare yourself. And then on top of that, we have snap evaluations, which will be evaluating what the snap evaluator asks a person, and you would be evaluating that. It's a very interesting part. The evaluation section for the presented speeches, then the evaluation of the entire meeting for a general evaluator. Now, we do have a general evaluator, and that's Victoria Trabosh, right? Yeah, okay. Now, let's start with our meeting. First, I would call the general evaluator, which is Victoria, right? And you have a team. I can't hear you.
I know. Sorry about that. Yes, I have
That's
a
okay.
team. I have a team of evaluators, and my job is to not only manage the second half of the meeting when after table topics, when we get to the speech evaluations, but also then ask for reports from our different evaluators. I will also, we're going to let go of the grammarian role this time, and we're not going to be looking, as Teresa said, for verbal junk food. I love that expression, Teresa. And yet we can move on. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to you to introduce the timer, Trudy.
I'm introducing the timer.
John Graham. Ask John to explain his role.
John, would you like to explain your role as a timer?
Yes, I will be timing each speech. We have three speakers today, and table topics and snap evaluations, and I'll be also timing the evaluators. I'm going to be giving the report verbally, unless there's enough time for me to type it into chat. Last meeting, I found myself inundated with 22 different things to put into the chat, and in the process of getting that in, I didn't get our evaluation times. So I will be giving our times verbally at the appropriate moment. Now, Sandra, how long is your speech?
10 minutes.
10 minutes. Okay. So do you want to 8, 9, 10?
Perfect.
8 will be green, 9 will be yellow, 10 will be red.
Perfect.
And then for Michael, how long is yours?
Also 5 to 7 minutes.
5 to 7. Okay, good. Okay. So that'll be 5, 6, and 7. And then let's see, for Mike, how long is your speech?
Only 3 to 5 minutes. So 3, 4, 5.
Okay, so 3, 4, 5. Okay, so that'd be 3, 4, and 5. For our table topics, for the initial response, it'll be 1 minute green, 1.5 yellow, 2 minutes red. For our snap evaluations, it'll be 30 seconds green and 1 minute red. For our evaluators, it'll be 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, and 3. And when you hit the red, you have 30 seconds left to finish your speech. So that's what I'll be doing. Thank you.
So now, after you finish, that's wonderful. We will now begin our speeches with asking the presenter to introduce the evaluator for the presenter to introduce that speaker. Lynn Gilbert, right?
Hi, I have the honor of introducing Sandra Savage, who is going to speak about mentoring matters. And she's had a lot of experience and understands the role of what the mentor gives to a person and how generous it is and focusing on their needs. And she's going to bring to it her experience, her clarity, her audience awareness, and her comfort level, and how we will be responding to what she has to offer. Sandra, are you ready?
I am ready.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
I'm going to talk about not only mentorship, but also how it can be used as a tool to lead guests into becoming members and keeping our members as long as we can. And I go back to the days when I stepped into my first Toastmasters meeting 37 years ago. I can't remember if I took my pills, but I remember that day. And it was instrumental to me because I walked in and this lady came over and said, "Hi, my name is Padma. Would you like to come sit down here?" So she guided me over to my chair. This was back before COVID. Well, 38 years ago. And she sat next to me and she says, "If you have any questions, just let me know." And then we went through the day. It was really nice until she volunteered me to do table topics. She kind of threw me in the deep water, but she made me feel like I was important to her. And in the long run, feeling important and wanted is very important. And you know, I'm sure you've all experienced those times where you felt out of water, but you want to do it, but you don't know. Yeah, you know what I mean. It's often felt too when you start a new job, move to a new city, you want to learn a new skill or start a business. And for me, it definitely was walking into my first Toastmaster meeting. And I want to keep in mind for all of us, at all times, we should be thinking about what our guests has experienced the first time they come into one of our meetings. But what really hit it off for me was, and why I joined, is she says, "If you'd like to join, I'll be your mentor." That took me over the edge into the comfort zone. And so we sat together and we formed a mentoring relationship. And it went on for about half a year, but I took a lot of the things that she did with me and modified them to develop what I have now as a mentoring relationship program, or kind of a step-by-step guide. It includes all the things you learn in Toastmasters through their manuals, but it also kind of individualizes it. And that's what we want. We want to be treated as special and not as everybody else. And one of the things I learned the hard way was don't give the forms to a new member to fill out to be a mentee. Just keep them in your back pocket. Ask the questions verbally. Forms are so impersonal, and that's the first thing you want to get rid of, is that wall that is between being a newbie and an accepted member. Talk about what their expectations are in mentoring. A lot of people say they want to mentor, but they have no idea what it means. You can explain it to them as well. You can also explain, I'm free, but you have to let me know you're not going to show up if you're not going to show up. Because there are many a times I've sat here at my computer waiting and I don't hear anything from them. And then I send a message and they go, "Oh, I forgot, I'm sorry." No, I have a policy 3 times, no call, no show, no mentor. So it does teach them that there are expectations of them too. We set up when we're going to meet, how often, and at what time. And also I have assignments, and I'm going to give you some resources in just a minute. And I familiarize the mentee with what happens in the meetings. Why do we do it this way? And even more important now with the enhancements, because those are becoming part of the path. And then all of this benefits not just the mentee, but I have to tell you, my mentoring relationships have taught me so much about how different businesses run, how to deal with people with different language translations, just how to make people feel comfortable and successful. But I don't sugarcoat. I don't believe in it. I want them to get the truth from me in a one-on-one situation, not harsh, but with guidance. So I actually built a 3-page handout, which I'm giving to you today. And it's the paper I give all my mentees. It talks about our relationship and how we're going to get you involved right away, and the expectations, and also the rights of the mentor and mentee. If you find out, if I'm not going to get into politics, but let's say I'm liberal and the person is extremely Republican, I don't think that's going to be a relationship that works unless we agree not to talk about it. But if that person wants to practice their speeches on me on a topic I'm uncomfortable with, it's just not going to work. And then I start out with the assignments. The first meeting, they get to come up with the word of the day, and it's fun. It gets them involved, gets them talking a little bit in front of everyone else. And word of the day is fun to go out and find that word that tickles your tongue and your ears. The second meeting, I tell them that they're going to be doing ahs and ums. The sooner you start hearing them, the sooner you stop using them. And then I have different things like maybe there's somebody interested in being a mentor, but they'd like to co-mentor with you. Agree that that's okay with the mentee, so that you help someone learn to be a mentor by being in the meetings with you. And then I have resources for them, everything to remove any anxiety for the mentee. And then after that, I listen to them. I listen to what they do for a job, or why did they join Toastmasters, get to know what they want to improve and why. I already went through the first assignment, and then I talked to them about little things like how to write a speech, how to write your intro, how to answer a table topic question. So it's continuing education and practice. And they get my full attention. We're not dividing up table topics with everybody else in the room. It's just the two of us, and we both play at answering and giving the question. Second assignment I mentioned. I also teach them how to observe. And a lot of people think an evaluator means something special, but it's your observation skills. And then the other half of that is how to offer that feedback in a nice way. And then I talk to them about planning out a goal. And many of you have heard me talk about different ideas that people have come up with for starting a business, or doing a community garden, starting up a reading corner, literacy corner at your local bookstore. What's your idea of something you have wanted to do? It's in your back pocket. Well, pull it out. We're going to do it as your path. So then we start to plan out their path without using pathways yet. Let's just write it out. Write out everything you want to do, have to do, like how are you going to let people know? Who's going to advise you? How are you going to get out to the public? Who else do you need on your team? Things like that. And then I match them up with the project cards. Then we just sit down and we start planning out a schedule. When are you going to be able to get this done in time? And plan it out and meet with the VPE and commit to those dates. Because it's so easy as a new club member to wimp out and say, well, I'm new, I'm going to take it slow. No, get them into a good habit of scheduling their meetings. And I have for you this URL that I'm going to put in the chat, plus the 3-page resource guide and a buddy mentor agreement, so that if you want to start mentoring, you can do it. You can do it the Toastmaster way, but you can also incorporate some fun, make sure they meet their goals, make sure that they're getting the input and feedback they want one-on-one, and that's very important. And that's what I have to say about mentoring. I have mentored 27 people, so I obviously love doing it, and I want to encourage you to do it as well.
Thank you, Sandra. That mentoring really captivates us all with all your good ideas and information you give us. Take 60 seconds on the time to write something in the chat to Sandra, telling her what you think about her brave talk, instigating us to get on the go. Thank you, Sandra. Person that's going to be introducing the speaker would be Victoria Trabosh. Are you ready to do that?
I am. Thank you very much.
Thank
So
you very
today,
much.
Michael is going to give a speech that connects with storytelling in the pathway. He's going to incorporate personal experiences, stories, or original fiction to illustrate his points. And the purpose of this project is to practice using a story within a speech or giving a speech that is a story. So to introduce Michael, I just want to say he's a nervous sort of guy. Sometimes, and that goes way back. Please join me in welcoming Michael as he gives a speech called First Kiss. First Kiss, Michael Schaefer.
When it came to puberty, I was a late bloomer. Emotionally, yes. Educationally, I was way ahead of my peers. My father was getting a psychology degree and wanted me to have full access to all the 70s literature on sexuality. He shoved me at his bookshelf with titles like The Sensuous Man, The Sensuous Woman, The Joy of Sex, Total Sex, and of course, everything you always wanted to know about sex but were afraid to ask. Boy, was I. You can ask me anything you want, son, he'd say, and I'm okay, Dad, I'll just read. He showed me a book on reproduction that we went through together on one of our Saturday talks. The full color photographs and detailed diagrams of a birth were the best abstinent tools he could have given me. Although one of the brief high points of my know-it-all 7th grade year happened when our social studies teacher was out of the room. The topic of sex had come up, and I was in the back of the room acting like a squeaky-voiced Dr. Ruth Westheimer. I explained some standard acts of foreplay. Even the coolest kids could not believe what I was telling them. Man, I love spreading the knowledge to my spellbound audience. But in reality, I was just like the kid named Eddie who knew everything about martial arts because he watched Bruce Lee movies. My first kiss, the one I actually asked for, still wasn't happening. At my going away dance party, my friend Norman was in charge of the invite list, so he made sure a girl I liked named Lisa showed up. And miracle of miracles, I got to slow dance with her to Bill Withers' Lean on Me. But that's as far as it got. My dad cut the party short because most of the 30 kids in our tiny living room hadn't started using deodorant yet. Even with the windows open, he said it took days to get the smell out. After I moved, there was another Lisa, Lisa number 2. We technically kissed, but it was more accident than deliberate. A group of us were piled into a Ford Country Squire, and we were headed to Denny's. Lisa and I were in the way back. A swerve in the road, and Lisa number 2 and I were thrown together. She giggled at how close our faces were, and she was such a friendly kind of person that it just kind of happened. It wasn't as deliberate as playing spin the bottle. It was more like shake the wagon. Oops. Our lips met. It was nice, kind of hot, awkward, semi-public, but that was it. And then Janet. Oh, Janet. We liked talking about books, but I wasn't really attracted to her. It didn't matter to Janet. She let me know we were in a relationship by graffitiing a cool phrase from a Sherlock Holmes story on the curb outside my house. She boasted that if she had a cold, she blew her nose straight into the wastebasket without any Kleenex. I didn't want to kiss her, or go out with her, or meet her during passing period at our lockers. Dad made me spend an hour with a wire brush and paint thinner to remove her graffiti. And that was that. Finally, Kathy. Our assigned seats were next to each other in history. She had brown hair and a big smile, big laugh, green eyes. I couldn't stop looking at the color of her eyes. And she was smart, so smart. She liked Monty Python and David Bowie. We laughed a lot before class started and after. And before too long, I couldn't stop thinking about asking her out. But because I had no game of any kind, I decided to ask her out in a greeting card. At the end of class one day, I pushed it across the desk and made my escape, too terrified to wait for her to open it. And neither one of us talked much the next day in class, but right at the end, she passed me something back, saying, "Don't open it yet," and took off. It was the card I'd given her. My heart dropped. But it was different. It was covered in tiny words. I shoved it in my trapper keeper and waited till I was back home to read it. The whole time, on my green 10-speed, riding home, I was terrified that it was going to be the longest rejection letter ever written. She hadn't even bothered to use another piece of paper to do it. But it turned out she was nervous too. She had written, "Okay, I'll go out with you," but she spent hundreds of words to say, "But you better not be joking or I'll kill you." Kill me or shame me or hold me to moral account if I trifle with her feelings. I rode my bicycle over to her house, met her father, then her mother. I told them we were going for a walk. Kathy appeared. She had used a curling iron to make 2 long 70s hair tubes on either side of her face, remember? Brown, high-waisted dress pants she was wearing and a green and white striped top. She was holding a sweater. Finally, we got out of there. It was my first time asking the getting to know each other questions. We were just going to go for a walk. And while it was happening, I got the impression that Kathy might have been having a good time. Or maybe she was just being polite. It was turning dark on this spring night when we got back to her house. We walked up to her front door. It was at the end of a walkway on a shady, quiet side of the house. But she didn't open it, so we kept talking. But now I was terrified. I wanted to kiss her, but I wasn't going to ask if I could do it. That would be so lame, not the way it happened in books and vintage movies we'd seen. This was the first time I wanted to kiss a girl I liked, and the stakes seemed bigger and scarier by the minute. Rejection was a monolithic unknown. I mean, was it going to be an emotional sledgehammer? Not only did I have no game at all, I started to physically shake. So much you could have seen it from across the street. I kept talking. I wondered about the coolness of the night. I said I should have brought a sweater, but she wasn't saying goodnight. I stood next to her, violently shaking, sometimes trying to lean casually against the house for what felt like 45 minutes. It finally hit me. She wants to be kissed. And now, reasonably sure of that, but still shaking harder than I ever had in my life, I pivoted toward her, trying to do my best impersonation of a movie star with hypoglycemia. I kissed her. My kiss was also a kiss back. We kissed a tiny bit more than our first kiss. My shaking settled down about 50%. Her parents turned the porch light on. The bike ride home felt different, like I was in a new gear. It was a quiet, beautiful night. Later, she would play music for me I'd never heard. Jethro Tull, Sly and the Family Stone, Pink Floyd. She told me how once in a while she'd dress up all in black before goth was even a word or even a subculture. And not too long after that night, she had become, most definitely, most ardently, my first love. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you very much for that speech. That's wonderful. It would be evaluated now in 60 seconds by us members. You'll have 60 seconds to put it in the chat.
60 seconds.
Thank you very, very much. And now we are going to continue on with our third speech by Mike Zong, but the introduction will be given by Ray Sweeney.
Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters. And on this beautiful Friday, run up to Christmas, look at the hats on site. Look, we've got John Graham in his Santa hat. Everyone's in the festive spirit. Well, Mike Zong is going to give us a speech this evening. It's for an upcoming contest for tall tales? Raise your hand if you know what a tall tale is.
It's online.
I can see about 50%. So we're going to be thrilled tonight. This is for District 21, the upcoming competition. So he wants us to look at the plot and the delivery. Now, Mike's got a new mic tonight. Let's do a little mic check. Mike, give me a 1-2. That's your cue to give me a 1-2, Mike. Just do a check.
Yeah, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Great stuff. Hand you back to our Toastmaster.
Okay, back to you, Mike. You can get started if you're ready to go.
Sorry, let me introduce the title of the speech, Madam Toastmaster. Strongest force in the universe. Strongest force in the universe. Mike's on.
Last week, something unbelievable happens to me. As I'm out there in my backyard doing something extremely dangerous, picking up apples. As I bend down to grab one, and suddenly, thud, a man falls out from my apple tree, lands right next to me. I jump back. Hey, who are you? What are you doing in my backyard? The man stands up, straightens his old-fashioned coat, and responds, relax. My name is Isaac. Isaac Newton. Isaac Newton? I stare at him. So you're the guy who figured out gravity, discovered the laws of motion, and invented a calculus? Yeah, that's me, but don't mention that job. I quit centuries ago. So what are you doing right now? You see the name badge here? Walmart Associate. So you go from discovering gravity to working at Walmart? Seriously? Yeah, times changed. Physics doesn't pay. But Black Friday does. Let me show you around Walmart. Sure, why not? So we arrive at Walmart. Then I ask him again. So, Mr. Newton, what do you even do here? I manage the shopping carts. Please allow me to demonstrate. Then he demonstrates. He pushes shopping carts forward, and the shopping carts bounce him back 2 full steps. Whew. You see, that's a perfect demonstration of action and reaction. And let me tell you, Walmart is the world's best physics lab. Oh my goodness, this guy is even more nerdy I am. If you know, I'm also a physicist. Okay, Mr. Newton, so since you're so good at physics, let me ask you this ultimate physics question. I hope you can help me, because I cannot solve it. Could you please help me open this pickle jar? He grabs it with confidence. He twists hard, and again, and again, and again, and multiple times. The lid doesn't move at all. Then he hands me back the jar. You see, that's another perfect example of action-reaction. I applied force to open the jar, and as a result, now my wrist hurts. Yeah, well, thanks for that mini physics lesson, but the jar isn't open. You haven't solved the question yet. I know. You see, I study physics theories, not the pickle jars. But by the way, I really have to go for my shift. And this is what I want to leave you with. You have new physics discoveries to announce? Yeah, pretty much. And this is what I've found. I've been studying physics and forces for my entire life. And recently I've discovered the strongest force in the entire universe. Not gravity, not friction, not the pickle jar lid. The strongest force in the universe is Black Friday at Walmart. You see, gravity only pulls the apple down onto the ground. Friction slows things down, but only Black Friday. Only Black Friday is able to pull a fully grown adult into Walmart at 7 in the morning and fight over TV that they don't even need. After he says that, he puts on his Walmart vest and vanishes into thin air. probably clocking in just in time for his shift. Now, I'm at Walmart. Thanks to the strongest force in the entire universe, I get to enjoy all the Black Friday deals. And by the way, I am definitely not fighting anybody for a TV. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Mike. A wonderful speech, reaction and interaction. Now I'll get you to take 60 minutes, 60 seconds. No, 1 minute, 1 minute to give him evaluation. Thank you, Mike.
60 seconds.
If you're ready to give the time for this first set of timing, would you like to do that?
I'm happy to do that. Sandra Savage, she was 10 minutes and 9 seconds. Michael Schaefer was 7 minutes and 41 seconds. Michael, you were 4:25.
Thank you very, very much. Makes it easier so you don't have to worry putting it in the chat. Now we'll move on to our table topic master. Who is the topic master? Victoria, no one else than Victoria, right?
Pat Caslin, check the agenda.
Sorry, I skipped. I pulled it down too fast. Pat Caslin. I like to get Pat Caslin to the stage to do the topic master, the topic table topics. And for table topics, I like to also mention that guests can also be asked to join into the table topics. That would be wonderful if you can, because you're coming and you're also going to have fun. You know what it will be like when you join Master of Evaluation. So Pat Caslin, take it up.
Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster. See, these topics always like a little bit of reflection, so I'm going to reflect a little bit. So my first topic is, it is better to fail than not to try. Would like to take that. Lynn, maybe. You're on mute, Lynn. Lynn, you're on mute. You're on mute. Can somebody unmute Lynn? Thank you.
I think for me, the most important instructions that I have had has come from failure, because out of failure, you have to focus on finding a new way of doing something. And what I've found is that whenever this has happened, something remarkable has occurred. So I no longer feel terrible when I failed. I have an example, but it's not exactly about failure, but it is about choice of doing something. I was supposed to go to Syria to photograph some of the remarkable houses there. And 2 weeks before I was going, 4 people were killed in Damascus, and I had a change. Was that a failure? Yes, it was a failure that I couldn't go, or I chose not to go. What I did do is I made a choice, and it was last minute. I went to other places that I hadn't expected to go. And one of the houses that I photographed, I ended up getting a first prize in a contest. So I've learned that failure or choice of not doing something is you don't have to follow a specific path. You can take any path and you can make it work for you.
Bravo, Lynn. Congratulations. Now, let me see. John Graham, would you like to give us a little snap evaluation on that? John?
Yes, I can do that. I
Thank you.
think you are very resilient, Lynn. I love that story, and I do understand, that the threat of death is something that may change your course in life.
Right.
And you changed your course, but you were not derailed. So I would say that was a very successful story, and I appreciated that very much. So I'd like to hear more about your adventures. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. My next topic is problems are a catalyst for action. Now, let's see. Michael, you've just turned your microphone on, so I'm going to give that to you, Michael Schaefer.
All right, then. Problems are a catalyst for action. Yes. Yes. Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master. There are also problems can be a terrific way to understand the levels of avoidance in addressing those problems. So one of the best things I can do is read a chapter of a really good book instead of actually doing my taxes. I'm talking to an accountant later today because I should have done it a lot sooner. So I find one of the great ways for me personally to take action facing a problem is to form a team. For example, I have a productivity team that meets regularly to track our progress in our writing projects. So we do that using an atomic habit profile, and the company that I keep always inspires me to do more than I expected. So when the action is required, I love being part of a team, much like this one right here. Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master.
Thank you very much, Michael. Ray, I'm going to ask you to give a snap evaluation of that, please.
Thank you very much, John. I had a sneaky suspicion you might call me for that one. Michael, always a pleasure. I love the way you stall by repeating it and thanking the audience. It's a classic trick that we all know and love. If you're running or looking for something to say, repeat the line and say thank you. But then you transitioned into an example and you used humour of your accountant, which is always nice. And you gave us an example of the teamwork and how that benefits you. And that's the main takeaway here, the team. So you wrapped it up nicely in a Christmas bow for us. Thank you. And back to you, Pat.
Thank you very much, Michael. Treka, would you like a topic?
Sure.
Fabulous. Imagination is more powerful than knowledge.
Woo. Well, I love that phrase about imagination is more important than knowledge, because I think when you imagine a brighter future, the cognitive dissonance between what you don't know and what you need to know is illuminated, and it draws you in even deeper to find excellent resources, as Sandra said, mentors, and people who can not only who have know the way, but show the way. And so it starts with a vision, and how compelling can that vision be? And then backfill it with some knowledge in order to make it more tangible. I find that extremely compelling, and I think that a lot of people have lost their ability to envision what's possible. I just learned through ChatGPT that I am a systems thinker. I got sent, I'm working on a project where they're merging two Toastmaster districts together, and they sent me their operations information, and I was like, what's the goal? What do we want to do? So instead of merging two lackluster documents, I started from scratch and created a whole new document. And what is the goal? Where do we want to go with this? And to me, I think that that is really compelling. Like, how do you start from scratch and build something instead of iterating on something that may or may not be awesome to start with? And so I find that very helpful too. So what is the vision? What is the goal? What's the objective? And how can we make it better? What's the vision for making something better? And what resources do we need in order to close the gap? That's something that I appreciate very much. So thank you. Thank you. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Trico. Very expansive. Victoria, would you like to evaluate that?
I just knew you were going to call on me. I don't know. How do we know that, Ray? We just know. Teresa, great explanation of imagination. And here's the funny thing. You're a systems thinker. At the end, you turned the whole thing back into a system. You realize that, right? And that was great. but I don't know if you knew what you were doing when you said the vision, the goal, how do we make it better? You could have said, and you know what? That's how I take systems and make them into a vision. Well done.
Thank you, Vicky. Now, my next topic is Corazon. Would you like a topic?
Sure.
Fabulous. Experience is what you get when you don't get what you want.
Would you repeat the question again, please?
Experience is what you get when you don't get what you want.
There are many situations. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and guests. There are many situations in life that we don't get what we want or what we plan for. A good example, this morning, I was supposed to speak in a club in Oceanside, California, but the internet did not cooperate. There's not much I could do about that. I just kept a smile on my face and enjoy the moment of being able to listen and soak in all the wisdom that was being shared during table topics. And it was wonderful. A couple of participants in the club meeting raised their hand with hip pocket speeches to fill in the time that was allotted for what would have been my 15 to 20 minute speech. So it was great that they did that. So a lot of times we're thrown a curveball. We just have to roll with the punches. And I'm that kind of a person. I go with the flow. I'm like water. I just flow. Back to you, Mr. Table Topic Master.
Thank you, Corazon. Mike, you're up for a snap evaluation. Mike's on.
Sure. Well, I love the smile on your face when you were doing the speech. You seemed very confident, very natural, and the body language was to your point. And you went right into a story. You talk about an example of where you had some problems, the internet issues about another online meeting, and how the people in the club put their hand up and stepped in at the last minute to help with this issue. So thank you so much for sharing that story with me, and I'm looking forward to seeing you more and more in the club in the future. Back to you.
Thank you very much.
Now we're going to go around the other way. I'm going to ask Ray. Contentment is natural wealth.
Well, I can tell you, it's a lie. We've all been fed that it's a lie. Wealth makes you happy, no matter what they tell you. Everybody wants to be rich. We want some of the old moolah. They say it's the other way. No, I really think deep down everyone wants to be wealthy. Yeah, we can have all the riches, the family, the love, everything. But who doesn't want to be flying around the world in a supersonic jet, having a great time on the beach, pina colada in one hand, someone rubbing you down, get a little massage? Okay. We all say we don't, but I think we really do. I think it's reverse. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Ray. Let's see who we get to do that. We get Lynn maybe to evaluate that. Snap evaluation, please, Lynn.
I'm having difficulty hearing this. Could you ask somebody else this time? I had difficulty hearing you, Ray.
Sure. Teresa, would you like to do that one? Quick evaluation.
I am sorry. I'm a little bit distracted today, so I wasn't listening as well as I should have. I'm not a good teammate today, Ray. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, I'm going to get you on another one. Corazon, would you like to try? On mute.
My apologies. I was momentarily distracted, so I wasn't able to hear.
Okay, stay on guard. I know Vicky was listening.
Guess what? Fourth time's a charm here, Ray. What I loved about your remarks was the pivot. No, I don't agree with that at all. And you explained why. The explanation of being in the jet, including the massage, I'd like to be in a jet where I get a massage too. That'd be kind of cool. But what I really loved about this was that you leaned into it, no apologies. And that's really key in a speech like this. If you're going to take an opposite point of view without offending the question itself, lean into your answer. You did that beautifully. Thank you very much. No other thoughts, actually. Sorry. Good job.
Great evaluation. All right, my next topic is what you become is what you're prepared to endure. John, how about that?
Sorry, what was the question again, please?
What you become is what you're prepared to endure.
Oh, that's terrific.
It's a very interesting one.
I can add a supplement to it.
I think it's a question about challenges, Pat. You know, the things that challenge you in life are the things that you work hardest on, or the things you should work hardest on. And in the course of doing that, you become that challenge, and you achieve something new because of that objective. I forgot to start my timer. Sorry about that. But I think that in the course of life, we all have those challenges, and as we see those challenges and acknowledge those challenges, that is what we become. And I probably got to a minute there, but anyway, so that's it.
Super, thank you. Teresa, were you listening?
Yes, thank you very much. John, I love that you talked about the challenge and who you become as a result of it. I would have loved to have heard a personal example of what happened in your own story, because I think we all have those. Like, you don't get through life without being challenged, and then also there are times when we hide from challenges, and that also is a missed opportunity about who you could have become as a result. And so I think there's I love that. So thank you very much. It was lovely. Back to you, Mr. Table Topics Master.
Thank you. Mike, I'm going to ask you the supplement. Endurance, though, without purpose is just suffering.
Is it me or Michael?
Yeah, Mike Strong. Thank you, Mike. Yes.
Can you say that again?
Endurance without purpose is just suffering.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters, and guests. Endurance without preparation. Oh, yeah, sorry. Without purpose. Endurance without purpose is just pure suffering. Let me give you an example. Oh, by the way, I totally agree with this. So it actually has everything. The example is about my speech today, about the tall tale contest. I threw my hat in the arena just to participate in it without actually knowing what a tall tale was at the time. And then later I realized a tall tale is a 3 to 5 minute speech. It has to be made up. It has to be exaggerated, and with a lot of things. Well, by the way, I'm trained as a physicist, right? I speak with data. I speak my truth. I rarely add something or make something up. But this is completely outside my comfort zone. As I'm trying to develop the plot and trying to come up with something about physics, Isaac Newton, my interaction with him, at some point I thought, well, it's just pure suffering. I don't know how to do this. It's so stupid. I'm probably just gonna say no to the contest chair and just quit. But then decided to keep on working on it. I used ChatGPT to bring some ideas, and in the end, this is what I have. And I'm so happy I eventually did have a speech like this, although not exactly the way or perfect way that I wanted, or yeah, so it's not perfect in the ways that I would like to shape it, but now I just happy that I have it done, and I can do this next Monday for my home club in District 21 for the contest. And yeah, if I don't have a goal in my mind, then it wouldn't be just pure suffering and a waste of time. But now I'm happy I did it, and I do want to try different varieties of types of speaking. And I'm at the start of my journey, so I'm happy that I did it. Back to Table Topics Master.
Thank you. Tracy, you have your hand up. Would you like to?
Mike, scientists have a really hard time telling their stories. They love the data, and the data has rules. The data has, and then we look for variances, right? What's different than what I'm expecting? And I think that this is a great example, and this has been very helpful for me, is to understand that storytelling has a formula. And the surprise and the delight that people often remember is when they're outside of the formula. But the formula gives an anchor to where people can orient themselves. And I love that. What I would encourage you to do is think about tightening your stories and finding the formula, because there's an actual formula that you can play with, and then you can actually take each step on the journey of the formula and play with it and play with variances. And the thing that you're doing right now with the tall tales is you're expanding what we expect. That's I heard humor is a surprise of the mind, and that is also what Tall Tales is doing. And so I love that this is part of your journey, and finding the formula and the framework that'll give you a really great launching pad in the future. Back to you.
Thank you, Tracy. Thank you, everyone, for great topics, answers, and evaluations. I'm going to pass you to our general evaluator, Lynn.
I think I'm the general evaluator.
Oh, apologies.
No worries. I'm not offended. Thank you, everyone. Now we move on to the second half of our meeting, which is the evaluations. And next up, I'd like to introduce our first evaluator, Lynn Gilbert, along with our first speaker, Sandra Savage. You guys are up, and you have 3 minutes, Lynn. And you're on mute.
I thought what you did was not only a remarkable talk, but something that had great clarity. And what you were talking about, it's not just about mentoring somebody in a group. You're talking about sharing your life experience and helping them shape their life. Because what you do in Toastmaster is also how you approach life. Now, you brought up what happened to you 37 years ago, but you also mentioned 38 years ago. And the fact that the person who, when you met them, made you feel important and wanting. And that really is, in essence, what's important about any relationship. So as a core of mentoring, you've made a platform that two people can enter in. One is the giver and one is the receiver, and it makes you join together. So it's not only, as you mentioned, in Toastmaster, but a new job, a new city, wherever it is. And when you talked about developing this into a program, it's like, wow, that's fantastic, because you're creating a path on which 2 people can follow. One is what you're going to get out of it as a mentee, and the other one is, if somebody chooses to be a mentor, what they should do. And I thought when you set up the 3 pages of, setting up times, familiarizing, and the benefits, it's like, wow, because you're giving a life pattern, something that you can use not just in Toastmasters, but elsewhere. Now, the other thing you brought up, which could be a problem, is what kind of people, are going to be paired together. And if somebody does not have your point of view, I'm sorry, my voice is going. If somebody does not have your point of view, it's risky to join forces. It's like having a therapist. If you're not on the same page with the therapist, you better get out and get somebody else, or a doctor, or a lawyer. And so you ran them through a word of the day on each thing that you could do in mentoring. But to me, the whole thing is about what you do for somebody in their life. And I think it's a remarkable thing. Now, I do have a suggestion. I felt that one is that the slides were terrific. I loved seeing them. They were concise. The images were wonderful. The text was good. That you got I see the red light going on. The one thing that I would suggest is I think that you read it. And I think that if you internalized it and shared the passion that you have, it would have bumped it up to even a higher level.
Thank you very much, Lynn. Sandra, what value did that bring to you specifically?
Well, I especially like Lynn's last point of, I know this stuff. Why am I reading my slides? But I know so much that my slides are my words, so I didn't differentiate enough between them. And that's something I'll do. But mentoring is not difficult, and it is very rewarding. And I like the idea of co-mentoring with someone to help bring them along as a mentor so they can be a mentor to someone else. And I like that you caught on that treating people and showing them a way and makes them feel valuable. And that's, to me, important. I want to answer one of the questions I got in the chat, and that is, how long do you keep a mentee? Ray, we worked together for about a year or two. I've worked with some people short-term, long-term. Sometimes I just don't want to get rid of them. And they don't, as long as they're happy listening to me once in a while, it's good. But I enjoy mentoring. It allows me to share and pass on knowledge that is internalized and not from a manual.
Thank you, Sandra. I just want to say you started to give another speech, my friend.
Oh.
All I really wanted you to do was comment on Lynn's comments. But well done. Well done. Thank you very much. Next, I'd like to evaluate Mr. Michael Schaefer. And let me put Michael on the screen. There you are. Michael, thank you very much for your speech. You had so many great expressions in this speech, including great late puberty bloomer. I was thinking about that. And then when you listed all the books, you could have added, for more humor, Sex for Dummies.
Yeah.
Just on your own, decide to do that, because then we would have gotten it. I love the analogy of Bruce Lee, the great humor about the deodorant, beautiful descriptions, shake the wagon, and loved your linear storytelling. This was a great speech to tell from the earliest example to the final example. So well done on that. Couple things. You didn't say what the graffiti quote on the sidewalk was. I wanted to know it. Maybe you forgot it, but you could have said, oh, you remember it. Okay, good to know. And so make sure you say it was just one extra line. Now, I know you went over, so you have to think about where you're going to cut this story a little bit. But I would have loved to know. I'm thinking, what's that graffiti? What did he erase? Don't make me think about anything other than your words. What's a trapper keeper? I have no idea. I'm older than you. I don't know what a trapper keeper is. And then I'm going, what's a trapper keeper? So if you're going to use what could be considered a colloquial term or something, I don't know, from the 80s, you said, or the 70s? I don't know. I'm from the 60s, 50s. So, I'm happy to learn something. And finally, I am going to challenge you to work from an outline. I know this speech is written out, but I learned this the hard way when I took an advanced speech class at Harvard. We had no choice but to prepare an outline that had to be sent to the professor. And here's the rules. No more than 4 words per line, unless it's a quote. Now, here's how I think you could have done that. You would have dad. You would have books. You would have first girl, second girl, third girl. You know these stories. It's clear you know these stories. You might not get everything engaged that you wanted to, but it would have been fine. I don't understand the movie star with hypoglycemia. Does that mean they're faint? Is that what you meant by that? Yeah, shaky. Okay. So you might have done that, hypoglycemia, a little shaky, just to make sure that we get it. And you ended with, she became my first love. Did you mean love or kiss?
Love.
Okay. When you did that, you took me, I was certain you were going to come back with my first kiss to bring the whole speech together, and my first love. Thank you very much for this great speech.
Madam General Evaluator, did you want me to comment on that evaluation?
Yes. What value did that bring to you, Michael?
It did. It was great. It kept me focused on what I am doing in Toastmasters versus what I'll be doing with this speech in a different venue. And I love the circularity of first kiss to first love as the last line. And yes, I will be shaking and probably miming the, maybe I should say, peachy nature of the Trapper Keeper. Remember the peachy folder?
No, I'm still lost.
All right, then. It's all mine.
I'll look it up, though.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Michael.
Thank you.
Next up is our third and final evaluator, Ray Sweeney, to evaluate Mike Zong. Let me pin you both.
Did an apple bump us on the head? We will find out. Congratulations, Mike. You asked me to look at plot and delivery. So I'm going to start with what I liked and loved and give you a few tips for improvement, if I may. The humour that you brought tonight was surprising for me, and I loved it. I loved seeing that. The humour coming out from yourself on stage. You used your voice. You had a new microphone. It worked fantastic. I could hear you nice and clear. You were using comedy throughout, and that suits you. So carry on doing that, because you're doing that well. As a physicist, your background gives you credibility. And that gives you the ethos to the audience. They understand this guy's serious. He knows what he's talking about. You brought us into the jokes, the Black Friday at Walmart, about the television we didn't know we needed. All of this amounted to you being more confident on stage in your presence, your voice, and the way you present yourself. So how do we take this tall tale and elevate it to the top of this mountain? Well, let me give you 3 points, if I may. The voice change. Did that work? Not sure. It sort of morphed into the same voice. So what could you do to make it clearer? Make those movements that you were making on stage from one side to the other and make them solid so we can see it's a different character. Secondly, the setup. It felt a little bit rushed as we got into the story. I would say slow it down, pause, and you see what I did at the beginning? By asking the audience a question, did an apple bump us on the head? I reach out and I grab your attention. Do that with your first line, your opening line of the speech. And thirdly, a more impactful ending. Leave us something to take away, something to stew on for the rest of the night. Oh, yeah, I remember when Mike said that. Leave the audience wanting more and something to chew on. So in summary, the strongest force in the entire universe was given tonight by our physicist, Mike. But let me tell you something. You don't need Chat GPT. Don't go there. AI. Who wants to listen to a robot? It's all about creativity. Reach down and bring out the humor in yourself. Excellent first attempt at a tall tale. Lots of improvement. And as Luke Skywalker once said, use the Force. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Ray. Mike, what value did that evaluation bring for you?
Well, Ray, yeah, thank you so much. I was wondering about the voice change too, because I was not used to having to talk in a lower voice in an extended period of time. I was not used to that. And then thanks for that feedback. I'll work on it for my delivery on Monday. And I also appreciate you telling me that my setup was a bit too quick. I need to add a little more lines, preferably a question to engage the audience at the beginning. I'm going to do that. I know I'm still under time for 1 minute, 30 seconds. I still have time to do that. I'm going to work on it. Thank you for that. And also thanks for reminding me of the call to action. I thought Tall Tale doesn't need that. Hey, it's just more of entertaining, exaggerated, rather than a regular 5 to 7 minute sort of international speech style with a call to action and a message. That's what I thought, but thanks for reminding me of that.
Thank you very much to both of you. And now I'd like to call John Graham up to the stage to give the timers report on not only our evaluations, but our speakers.
Thank you, Vicki. Let's see, these are for table topics. Lynn, you came in at 119, and my snap of yours was 33 seconds. Michael, you were 103, and was it Ray or Pat who was the snap evaluator on that?
It wasn't Pat, because Pat was the table topics master.
That was so it was after Michael. Who was the snap evaluator after Michael?
Me? Was it me?
No, I don't know. It wasn't you.
Okay.
Okay, whoever it was 36 seconds. What's it? 36 seconds. Treka, you were 156, and Vicky, you were 34 seconds on your snap. Corzone, you were 127. Mike, you were 37 seconds. Ray, you were 43 seconds on your speech. Vicky, it was 42 seconds on the snap. I was about 1 minute, and Treka, I think it was about 27 seconds. With Mike, you were 222, and Treka, you were 121. Is it Treka or Teresa? Did we decide that?
Teresa.
Okay, Teresa. Sorry about that then. And Lynn, on your evaluation of Sandra, you were 325, and Sandra, your response was 59 seconds. Vicky, your evaluation was 307 of Mike, and Mike, your response was 34 seconds. Ray, you were 248, and let's see, was that also Mike? It was 50 seconds. Yeah, 50 seconds. So thank you very much. That's my report.
Thank you very much. And now I'd like to give a general evaluation of the meeting. First of all, I want to congratulate our Toastmaster, Trudy, who really, really came to the table. You did a wonderful job, Trudy. I know you were nervous, but nerves actually keep us alert and elevated, and you really did a beautiful job running the meeting. To our evaluators, Lynn and Ray, I thought the evaluations were really good. Lynn, you did a lot of explaining of her speech, and then you started to run out of time to give her an evaluation that would make her speech better. I loved how you started with a beautiful description of the purpose of the speech, how mentoring really works. Great job. But you went on a little long, and then you started to run out of time. So watch your timing. Ray, as Teresa said in the chat, beautiful job. You are such a good listener, and you give such specific feedback that can only make a speaker better. Thank you. Overall, wonderful meeting. I, as you all know, love this group quite a bit. And I would have to say that we did a great job today. It's only 10:18, which gives us time to have the closing remarks from our Toastmaster, and then I'd like to call on our visitors to give any feedback that they would like. So it's back to you, Trudy. Thank you.
Thank you. These are my closing remarks. Let me see what I'll say. Well, as we are closing, I like to challenge each one of you after listening. Can you hear me? Each one of you after listening to the speeches, to the table topics, to the feedbacks, and listening to what you can take with you and that resonate with you to be the spark. And that spark that inspires you to move your voice in advocating in whatever you believe you can influence others with. Because for sure you're taking something back with you. The actions that were given to others, to the speeches, the feedback that was given was great. And when you've been influenced by that and start advocating, you'll be able to have positive changes in your community that benefits others. That's my closing remarks for that. And I would say thank you for allowing me to be your Toastmaster today.
Thank you very much, Trudy. Beautiful job. Round of applause for Trudy. Great job, Trudy. Thank you. And now I would like to hear from our guests what they thought of the meeting and the value it brought. We'll start with you, Corazon.
Madam General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, hello again. What a great educational experience. And I want to express my gratitude to Teresa. She has widened my Toastmasters world by having me tag along when she goes to these different clubs that I am not aware of. When I first joined, and I just joined in April of this year, the co-chair of Inland Empire Speakers Bureau had suggested join and find a club that has great evaluators, because when they have great evaluation, they make great speakers. You epitomize the ideal club that our co-chair of Inland Empire Speakers Bureau had said. So wonderful experience. I love the SNAP evaluation style, and I will copy it in my club. Thank you so much.
Excellent, Corazon. And Sandra has a one-page sheet on explaining SNAP. So Sandra, if you can share that in chat again. We really loved having you here. And of course, we'd love you as a member. And you get more time to talk to Trudy, who is our VP of membership. So thank you very much. And Teresa,
Thank you.
Thank you. And Teresa, welcome back. And what value did our meeting bring for you today?
Oh, I feel like I have been on a pilgrimage like you wouldn't believe. I visited maybe 50 or 75 clubs so far, genuinely looking for excellence and consistent excellence. Not just one or two members, but the entire group that not only desire excellence, but demonstrate it on a regular and consistent basis. And I found it here, and I'm so, and also it's a stretch, right? I'm seeing things that people do, and it's like, oh, I want to remember that. Oh, I want to remember how to do that. And and so I think it's such a beautiful soul homecoming when you find the people that you want to spend time with. So thank you. Really means a lot to me. I appreciate it. And I want to thank Sandra for extending the initial invitation. It's really beautiful.
Sandra does a wonderful job speaking of our club, and we would love to have you join us, Teresa. You also, both you and Corazon, were right on it, as long as you were listening, right? We all laughed because it's like, oh no, that is the magic of a snap. You don't know. And also there's lots of grace we extend if you didn't listen. No worries. It's not like, why weren't you listening? It's not that. It's a reminder. It's kind of like the ahs and ums. Until you know you're doing it, you're like, I didn't know that.
Well, actually, I was in the chat telling her, look at the timer and the way that they do the timer here, and look at this person. This person's awesome because. So I was like adding commentary the whole time.
Well, that'll teach you. Anyway,
I know, right?
we'd love to have the two of you join us on a bi-weekly basis. We're the first and third Fridays of the month. And thank you, Michael, very much. And before we all go, our next meeting, which is the 19th of December, my son's birthday, we're doing a speaker contestant showcase. We would love to have 5 contestant speakers be our meeting. Now, here's the deal. Sandra, do you want to talk about this dual marketing effort you're going to do? Bye, Michael.
I had so many windows open. We are going to be actively searching for 5 contestants to the speech contest to come and get the master touch from us. And we have had good success in the past with some really top level speakers. And what we're going to do is send out a piece today to all of them. And we're going to invite them and get them 5 speakers. And then we're going to do 5 in-depth evaluations. We're still working out some of the details. Where you are necessary, not requested to join, but necessary, is being there, showing support to these speakers and providing your insightful and elevating evaluations. They're going to be going to contests where they're going to be judged on a criteria, but we want to give them our touch, that little extra insight to what made their speech effective or could be ramped up a little here. So that is our next meeting. We will have a few roles to fill, correct, Vicki, like timer and so forth, but we don't need to fill that agenda out today. And this is for anybody in any club to come and speak if they're a contestant in the contest.
In the world. We already have one candidate who's doing it from, is it India? Where's he from?
Oh, in the world. Okay.
So we are here for other people. And what we're going to do is 5 speeches, so that's 35 minutes, and 5 5-minute round robin evaluations. What were you going to say, Corazon? We're in LA based.
5 to 7 minutes is the speech time.
Yeah, so we're looking for international speech contestants. Pat, are you moving on? Do you need to be one of the 5?
And the contestant does not have to be a member?
No. In fact, we're looking for non-member. We're LA based. You want to do it, Corazon?
I am probably, well, yes, I'd like to try.
All right, so
I may not be at the caliber you're looking for, but I'm going to try.
Listen, there is no caliber we're looking for. We're looking for people who are in a speech contest. So are you entered in a speech contest?
Not right now, no.
So you have to be in a speech contest for that. Sandra, if you can stay on the line when we're done, we're going to talk about the Google sign-up sheet. It's not our usual one. It'll be what contestant are you at? What contest are you in? When is it? What district? So we know. And we're going to put it out. So we're looking for contestants to really elevate their game. Pat, are you still in contestant mode?
No, I'm out of to compete in the final of the district, but didn't get anywhere, so I'm out of contestant mode.
Oh, bummer. Well, the good news is if Pat Castlin's in the room, you're going to get some very, very nuanced evaluations. So that's what we're doing. We're not going to do a GE. We're not going to do a general evaluation. We're not going to do table topics. We're not going to do grammarian. We're doing all evaluations, and hopefully we'll have more than 5 people. And if they don't get chosen, they'll come to learn, like Corazon and Teresa said. You just learn when you're here. So we want that as well. So we'll put this out. Sandra, you and I can work on the Google sign-up sheet that is very specific like Corazon, join the club. You can give as many speeches as you want. I'm just saying. But for this behavior, because we're online, we're all over the world, we are not doing our own speech contest. But we know the caliber of evaluators that are very nuanced. Look at all the great evaluation that Mike got. Mike is new to this club for sure, speaking. He did an amazing speech, and the feedback, hopefully you added something in chat as well, but the feedback was really good and nuanced from Ray. So that's what we're doing. Sandra and I will work on this. She'll get it out. We're also going to invite more guests. Just come to the meeting if you want. Give feedback. And we all are evaluating. Thank you, Pat. We're all evaluating.
Thank you, guys.
Good night. All the time. So with that, I am actually going to end this meeting on time, Sandra. I am calling the meeting closed at 10:29 a.m. LA time. Which
Can I just say something? I haven't moved to the room yet.